Don't be putting stuff into a crisis management plan that is overarching or overreaching. If you can't do certain things, don't put them in the plan. Bring in the people that you know you can trust. Only put the people in that control environment that will have your back. Hi, Gavin, Coyle back again. I'm the Gaffer. New episode. Let's talk about crisis management. So what do we mean about crisis management? Well, let's have a scenario. Sometimes I speak to some CEOs and I put a direct question to them. What would happen if someone like the Sun newspaper or one of the tabloids was banging on your door downstairs or was at the reception and said basically, look, you guys just had a fatality on one of your jobs. Can you come down here? We want to have a chat with you and discuss what exactly went wrong. Now that doesn't matter whether you're a small to medium enterprise builder or whether you're a large scale builder. That conversation does happen. And I wanted to know, and I want to talk to you guys today to discuss what would you do if that happened. So let's get into it. What would you do? What would you do if the receptionist rang up and said, hey, Gavin, there's a journalist here and they're saying that we've had a fatality and they want some commentary to talk about what went wrong. What are you going to do about it? Well, do you have a crisis management plan? That's where I'm going with this. Do you have some sort of A to Z guide to say, look, here's what we do when we have a serious incident, a catastrophic failure, and it doesn't have to be a health and safety related accident. It could be anything, some sort of reputational damage. It doesn't have to be health and safety. And I suppose when people think of crisis management, they automatically assume, yeah, that's got to do with health and safety. No, it's not. It could be anything. It could be something that somebody said, and then that's caused a reputational damage. It could be something that somebody has posted on social media. It could be anything. It could be a number of different issues. And we've seen this going very, very wrong for companies that might have come back to us and said, look, we've had some serious trouble because we didn't have a plan. We never thought that was going to happen to us. And, you know, when I'm talking to you and you're thinking about this in the background, just because you think, oh, well, I'm only a small builder, it's not going to affect me, like, you know, that's for the bigger guys. It will absolutely affect everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're small to medium enterprise or whether you're large scale. This stuff does happen and you need to have some sort of a plan in place so that your main business doesn't get distracted, that you don't end up becoming in turmoil, chasing your tail, not knowing where to go, not having any sort of a structure or manners on the situation. So let's get into it. What would you do? What would you do? Well, first things first, when it comes to crisis management, you can outsource it and go to a PR company and bring them in and say, look, we want you to help us write, you know, letters and holding statements for the business. Now, you don't have to use a PR company. If you don't have the budget, that's fine. You could do this easily yourself in terms of putting together a simple one-pager holding statement. Actually, what we'll do is we'll put a link in the show notes of a template that you can download as part of the podcast, and you can edit it and put your logos on it and use it to help you at least have a holding statement. And a holding statement is that. All it is just to give you some breathing space and time to figure things out, because you're not going to be in full control of all the facts, and there's going to be things coming at you left, right and centre, you know, and not just the journalists. I use the journalists because obviously that's going to be very impactful in terms of, you know, if you've got investors or shareholders, or obviously, you know, if it's a fatality, the parents or the siblings or the wife or the spouse might not know yet, and next thing all of a sudden somebody's going to social media on this before you even get a chance to control the narrative. And that's what we're talking about here today, is how do you control the narrative? How do you take command of the situation, and how do you have a sort of a leadership approach to show, look, I'm in control here, but I can only be in control for a certain element of time, and I need some time in order to figure things out so I can put a plan in place, and I will get back to you. So for example, with the journalist down at the reception, that would be something that you would actually hold with the journalist and say, you know, I'm happy to give you a comment on it, and you know, we're obviously devastated that this happened, and we're doing everything in our power to get as much information as we can on this particular matter, and could I take your number or whatever else, and we'll give you a statement in the next hour or two, and we promise that we'll give it to you and only you today, but then we'll do a general press release tomorrow, but just to buy yourself some time. So it's highly important. Like, it doesn't matter again what size of a business you are, but you know, people's perceptions of you and your brand can be so skewed, you know, can be so far away from the truth, and only you know how good a company you have, how good a construction company that you are, and your name is obviously very important to you and very important to your customers. So you don't want your customers or clients flicking through social media and they say, oh my God, how come that happened? Like, you know, why would they do something? Why would they do that? Like, you know, so you really want to get a message out and control that narrative from the get-go. And obviously social media is a great platform and to allow you to do that, but it also has a double-edged sword where it can actually be very detrimental to your business by not having not getting out of the blocks straight away yourself. So, you know, the holding statement is obviously the first part of it. Second part of it then is, well, what's going on? Like, what actually is happening here? So what I mean by that is, how do you pull together the right team in order to manage the situation for the next couple of days? Because, you know, you're going to be getting phone calls and emails left, right and centre from different individuals and different people. And this is why, again, some people outsource this to the likes of a PR company. And I'm not promoting PR companies here, but you know, that's, you can kind of put them in front of you to help manage all of these conversations, so that you're not just getting bamboozled by different meetings. But like, really what you want to have is, you want to set up some sort of a control center or command center or crisis management sort of room. And again, if you're just a one-man band, you know, that can be your solicitor, that can be your, you know, your spouse can come into the business just to give you a hand developing the crisis management for it. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to build people around you that you have an entrusted environment. So, and then delegate to those different individuals. So for example, I want you to deal with media, I want you know, the solicitor to deal with making an announcement because the TV stations want somebody to talk, or you know, I'm going to deal with the media myself, and then I'll have the solicitor talk about, you know, the fact that, you know, this is very damaging and we are taking control of the situation, and we're going to be taking immediate action against this particular individual who has posted this on social media or whatever that is. So you're trying to create a situation whereby you create a scenario first. And this is where we see a lot of construction owners failing in this whole process, is they don't go to the actual catastrophic event and work their way backwards. What happens is, in our experience, is the catastrophic event happens and it's just like coming off the side of a cliff, boom, gone. And you're in deep waters that you can't swim and you can't get out and you're not sure, and you've no life-saving equipment to pull you out of the situation. You're just completely bamboozled and overwhelmed. So start creating concepts in your own mind in terms of scenarios that might happen, and let's have a discussion about that. So the common, obviously, scenario that you would look at would be the likes of a fatality in the business. Okay, so somebody has been killed on one of your building sites, one of your workers has been killed. What is the plan of action? So again, back to your crisis management plan. Everybody should be on point in terms of your plan. And again, what we will do is we'll put a link in the show notes for a template crisis management plan. You know, it's going to be a generic one, but it's going to be a bit elaborate. So just edit it to suit. It has to be bespoke to you. Don't be putting stuff into a crisis management plan that is overarching or overreaching. You know, if you can't do certain things for whatever reason, don't put them in the plan. And we've seen that time and time again, where people are just putting in nice, lovely language and great actions, and they're going, well, really, you're going to do that? Are you really going to, bring in all these different people or whatever else? If you can't bring in the people that you can trust, and only put the people in that command control environment that you trust and that you can, that will have your back. So it could be. It could be friends and family. It doesn't have to be professionals. But going back to the crisis management plan, so try and keep it as basic as you can. To be honest with you, even if you can cut it down to 2 or 3 pages, 2 pages, like, that's a brilliant plan in our experience, because the people that are entrusted with you, they might only have seen that a couple of times, and they're not really fully sure exactly, because this is the first time it might be played out in a real circumstance. So obviously you have down on your Google Drive or whatever, on your desktop, on your C drive, bang it over to the guys, say, right guys, we've had this issue, here's the crisis management plan. And in the plan you will have documented the roles and responsibilities of the different people within your entrusted environment that are going to take action and sort of run this command center for you during this time of need. So, like, a crisis management plan is something as well that obviously will sit on the shelf and hopefully will never be used, but you should bring it out every now and again and look at it and go, God, I've seen something on the newspapers today about a certain construction company, and they've got completely and utterly obliterated because it could be a financial situation where they didn't see one of their key clients has gone bust, and now that company's in complete turmoil. How are they going to respond? Again, back to your crisis management plan. It doesn't have to be a fatality. It could be something like that. So let's look at a scenario whereby you've just got completely out of the blue a phone call to say, by the way, we know we owe you X amount of thousands or hundreds or millions, and we're in receivership or we're in liquidation. You're not going to get that money. Now, you've got all these guys on the sites, they're all needing to be paid. You've got contractors, you've got suppliers. What are you going to do? What is the plan? So again, do you have a stretch within your management plan to say, right, we have a fund that is on the side, that is in preparation for when things go bad, and how do we access that, and how long is that going to keep us alive in terms of running the business until we get some sort of a resolution together? You'll have the bank contact details, you'll have your accountant's details, you'll have different step-by-step processes that you're comfortable with, that you can hit with the ground running and go, right, get the crisis management plan in place right now. Like, this is stuff that's going to protect you and your family ultimately at the end of the day when you think about it. Not enough is being done. We don't see enough crisis management plans in companies, especially in construction companies. They're not doing them. In the main, most companies are acting on the fly. They're reactive. They're not proactive in terms of this. And again, just keep building on the scenarios, more and more scenarios, and you can Google it and just see and watch in the trade magazines. So and so, such and such a company have had a serious situation. Listen to the statements that's coming out from the CEOs or from whoever their representatives are. You can obviously import that information into your own package and go, dude, I like your man's statement, it's better than Gavin's statement that we downloaded off the show. Take that statement, rehash it yourself. And he said, now there's me holding statements. Listen to the whole play out of how things are happening, and then kind of you can schedule some of that into your own concept or your own management plan. And every scenario, and you'll never cover every scenario, but cover the ones that are the highest risk to yourself. It's good risk management is what we're talking about. And without that, within the space of 48 hours, your business could be completely and utterly gone to ground. And even though you've money in the bank and you're a healthy company, your reputation and your brand can just be gone like that. I'm Gavin Coyle, I'm the Gaffer. If you want to get more information about stuff that we're talking about and other information like that, really good stuff for your business, have a look at gavin-coyle.com. Go onto our website. You can download some free templates. There's loads of information and loads of training courses that you guys can do. We're there to help you. We're there to support you. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode.